Welcome to the BVTV Network, coming to you from the UK studios of BizVision. I'm your host, Malcolm Gallagher. Now, this is episode 2 in the BVTV Impact Networks Trilogy with the author of this book, Impact Networks. So hello again, David Ehrlichman.
Hello, Malcolm. Great to be here again.
I'm so excited about meeting you today about this one because, as I've said, I spent a lot of my life involved with networks, and particularly those in tourism, hospitality, and manufacturing. Now, admittedly, all those were external networks rather than internal, and all participants are. I remember are enthusiastic at first, but then the splintering and the cliques can occur. So how can this be prevented so that the focus of the network is maintained? What causes such breakaway?
Absolutely. Well, the first thing is, why are people showing up in the first place? Are they being forced to be there, or are they there on their own volition? That makes a really big difference. And, we always want to go for the latter. People are showing up because they're actually inspired of what they could do together, that they think they could do something together that they can't do alone. And that is the shared purpose that we try to find. They may disagree on many different things, but what can we agree on that we can use as a foundation for the beginning of our conversations and our work together? And then, of course, you're right, people will form relationships in different ways. They'll start to form cliques, but we can also start to recognize when that's happening. We can, as coordinators and facilitators, that's part of the process of understanding how the network is forming, and you're intentionally weaving then new connections between people who might benefit from that relationship with one another. So that is a big part of what it means to be a network leader, is weaving those connections to create a really vibrant, interconnected whole.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about leadership abilities in episode 3, because I think that's an extremely important part of it. But what I like about your book, it's very comprehensive, and I applaud you on that. But what I like about the book is that, you don't sort of talk about networks in a way that so many people do. Oh, let's put a network together. Let's build a community, wherever it may be there. You actually very, very succinctly go into it to get the foundation right. And I'm sure that must be important, isn't it?
Absolutely. Because behind all of this, there is a science, network science. There's actually a science behind how we connect with one another. Kind of, as you said earlier, the natural ways that people might default into connection. And we can use that understanding and more intentionally create connections that lead to our common purpose.
Yeah. And again, just reminding people, I think, on a continuous basis, what that purpose is will help them become so involved. From my experience, though, I've sort of felt that when something's starting to drift away is when a regular attendee starts sending a substitute.
It's
true.
For
1 week. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's true. And one of the recommendations we have is that people commit early on to a certain number of convenings together, or a certain length of time in relationship with that network, because ultimately, the purpose is often what brings people together. The relationships are what keep them there, and it's so important to build those stronger connections between folks, because networks are fundamentally webs of relationships between people or things. There are networks in our brains, neural networks. There are the networks of routers and cables that make up the internet. There are the fungal networks underneath our feet when we walk in a forest that connect trees and plants together. The networks are all about connection. They're really as strong as the connections that hold them together. So ultimately, it's the strength of our relationships that is going to sustain our ability to work together.
Yeah. So what's your thoughts about the difference now? I've in the past have, led live networks. That's at meetings in boardrooms or whatever may be there. But of course, now there's a lot more virtual networks, aren't there? Are people as committed within virtual networks, or do you have to be thinking about them in a different way?
There is really no substitute for in person. It's not quite the same. You're not getting the same type of energetic frequency that you have with a large group, but there is a lot that we can do virtually. Fortunately, we have more technologies to be able to work asynchronously, and you have to be a little bit more thoughtful about the specific design and facilitation of these gatherings. But in virtual settings, we can still form small groups, we can have deeper conversations, we can use collaborative documents. And there are more and more networks that are forming that are globally distributed, that it's simply not possible to meet in person, so they have to work virtually. There are many networks forming called DAOs, decentralized autonomous organizations, that are almost entirely virtually, and having to find ways to be able to do that. And unfortunately, there are more and more opportunities and strategies to be able to work together collectively, even if we can't meet in person.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the metaverse time when we'll be all networking.
That's right.
with the glasses on, or with the
That's right. But, you know, I'm not sure if I'm really looking forward to that, but we'll see when we get there.
Yes, I quite agree. It's not the same though. When, you know, I've had some good networks in hospitality where we've all gone out for a good drink afterwards. So you can't really do that virtually, can you?
Exactly. That's really the magic of in person. Happens in the in-between spaces. It happens sometimes after the formal agenda is finished, and, you know, in the evening time or the morning time. We often try to get people to go to a retreat center or a house for a longer period of time, so that we start to take off our professional hats and just start to engage as people, as humans. And that really breaks down that cordial hypocrisy that sometimes arises.
Yeah, I've got to tell you that out of all the years I've been doing it, I've made some great friends out of networks, long-term friends, you know. Well, I hope they think I'm their friend. Listen, one thing I like in your book, and it links onto the website, is your toolkit. So just tell us a little bit more what the purpose of that is and how it helps people.
Yeah, Converge really does all of its work for purpose. And so we like to give everything away. So we've created a number of different tools, for over a dozen tools and facilitation guides and surveys, templates that you can use that are free, offered under a Creative Commons license. You can adapt it. You can use it for your own networks and your own purpose. That's at converge.net/toolkit. Please do use them.
Excellent. Yes, I do urge people to do it. I've been having a bit of an enjoyable look around. Now, thanks, David. Now, let's give viewers and listeners details of your URL, your website address, which obviously viewers you can see on the screen behind me. But for listeners, it's all the W's, Converge, CONVERGE, converge.net. Now, David's book, this one, is called Impact Networks, Create Connection, Spark Collaboration, and Catalyze Systemic Change. And it's published by BK, that's Berrett Curler Publishers. And David is also the producer of the documentary Short Impact Networks, Creating Change in a Complex World, which I believe it goes live on 1st of February. Is that correct, David?
That's correct. February 1st. Looking forward to getting that out in the world.
Excellent. Yeah, I look forward to seeing it too. In episodes 1 and 2, David has helped us understand what impact networks are and how to keep their focus. In episode 3, I want to talk to him about what I believe is a key role, and that's the right person to lead the network. So, David, should we flip over to episode 3?
Let's do it. See you there.